order at 6:14, Sites and Facilities, our first one of the year, an exciting one. I'm looking forward to hearing about all the fabulous things that happened over the summer and get an update. So to not waste any more time, I'm going to flip it right over to Mike so you can take us through what's been going on in the district.
All right, thank you. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So tonight it's a short agenda, but it's a one big item. It's just an overview of the summer and our recent building projects. And then we're just going to give a little overview of everything that we've done, show some pictures, and then talk about some of the things we have coming up and that are still in progress. So I'm going to jump right in with my slideshow. And Rich Jalbert, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If there's anything that you want to add while I'm just running through these, I'm going to go through them relatively quickly. But if there's anything you want to add, context about the project or challenges or anything unique about the work that seems relevant, please feel free to jump in and add to the conversation. All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's go. Okay, so the way I broke this up, the completed projects I've done sort of in two sections here, just because honestly, I'm not bragging, there were too many to fit on one slide. So probably adding a second slide to cover them all. But well, these are the ones we're going to run through tonight. So obviously the DHS West completion is in there. Everybody has been there and toured the building, so I actually didn't include any artwork for that one. But we had our science room renovations, our file consolidation and reorganization, which is ongoing, some tiling and flooring projects that we did. Our Ellsworth roof got replaced over the summer. We're adding an elevator at Haystown. We got stadium lights at DHS, the main auditorium seating, Maynard Academy. So there's the DHS Main Academy refresh and painting, a gym floor at Pembroke, and the AIS retaining wall, phase one, and then a fence at the KSP playground. So this was last year we did the C4 science rooms. This is the floor right above it on C5. This was taken probably the first or second week of August when it was still under construction. So these have all now been renovated, and they basically mirror the floor right below it. So these rooms have all been renovated, and the science buildings are all updated. This is over in our warehouse. We added a secure file cage. I doubt anyone's been over in that warehouse other than Rich, myself, and Kara. But it had just been years of a sort of, makeshift filing system of boxes that were stacked on top of each other, and they're sort of collapsing. So as we began the move out of Beaverbrook, or started packing up anyway, we realized that we have a lot of files in that building. There's files in the basement going back 20, 30 years in some cases, that we have to retain because of file retention laws. So as we started to move these things, we thought we're not going to be able to just bring all these boxes and, put them all in some closet over at the new building. So we wanted to make sure we had a secure filing system that was accessible. So you've probably seen these. You turn that big handle and the whole shelf, it's balanced. The whole thing slides over. So this is probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 file rooms that we would have otherwise had in that building, which we can now leave in the warehouse. And this will be more of our dead file storage for, employees that are no longer here, students that have graduated, files we don't actively need to access, but that, we may need to go back in to look something up from time to time and that we legally need to keep. So it's going to allow us to keep the new building a little bit fresh and not overloaded with stuff, which is a big deal to us. So this was a real big job getting this done for us. Broadview, we added new flooring in the counseling center. This also came out of our operating budget. This was one of our summer projects, which we were very excited to do. Mill Ridge and KSI had the third of 3 pod. I should say Mill Ridge had the third of its 3 pods updated with flooring. They each got a letter, so there's an M and an R and a P in there. So it just looks really nice and fresh. And then KSI, I don't have a picture of the KSI upgrade, but they received some new flooring as well. And both of those schools now are fully upgraded. Ellsworth got a new roof. This project is completed. They finished it with about a week or two to go before the kids came back. So this picture was probably from the first week of August or so. And the solar panels are gone. The new roof is in place and it looks fantastic. And there's no more leaks. Even better. So this is at Haystown. It's kind of a confusing picture if you don't know the building, but the one on the left is actually looking down the hallway. So the classroom on the right, that wall used to go back about 4 more feet, and then the other classroom, they shared a wall. What happened with those classrooms is they each lost about 4 feet to create that egress, which is now going to be the elevator access way that is now on the outside of the building. So that work is done. We are still waiting on the elevator car. So that area is boarded off still. We're waiting on the car and some of the additional electronics that were back ordered. So we're hoping those come in later this fall or early winter, and that project will be done. But even the sort of cool part of this, sorry about that, is because those classrooms had that wall taken out. The new wall that came in included some new shelving and new bookcases, and it just looks really nice. So it gave those classrooms a refresh at the same time as installing that elevator to make increase the ADA accessibility of that building. So another exciting project.
Mike, for a second, I just want to pause and see if anybody has any questions so far. So I know we're going through a lot of projects. Does anybody have any questions well up to this point?
No,
do.
good job. Good job.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
At Broadview Middle School, so the carpeting was replaced with tile?
Correct, in the counseling center. Yeah, let me go back to
Okay.
that one here.
Okay, and so when you say for Mill Ridge and King Street Intermediate, the pod flooring,
Yeah.
how many pods does that cover at Mill Ridge?
Right. So at Mill Ridge, we were doing 1 pod each summer. So over the last 3 years, we've now done all 3 of the different pods. So Mill Ridge is now fully completed.
Okay, and King Street Intermediate, I think you said that's fully upgraded. How many
Rich,
pods?
do you have more on KSI? I didn't have a picture from that one handy.
Sure. KSI, we did the third of 3 pods this summer. There was also an abatement required for King Street Intermediate. In addition, we did the stage. The stage had some very old carpeting, and we put some fresh looking, wood looking LVT on there. No waxing required, just keep it clean.
Right, and the stage
Rich.
area, okay. Okay, so the other question, Ellsworth, the roof is totally completed, replaced?
Yes, it was a total replacement. And I believe when we talked about this in the in the springtime, the plan was that they were going to put the new roof simply over the existing roof.
Right.
When they
Right.
got in there, I guess they realized that there was a bit more damage than they had anticipated. So they ended up removing the whole roof and just putting the new one down with replacing some of the wood underneath. So I think it's a better fix because any of the damage that was under that roof is now completely gone. So we don't have to worry about it coming back to haunt us.
Okay, and with the Haystown elevator construction, the actual, it looks wonderful. And we all know that it's been a long time coming. The classroom alterations, did you say that we took about 4 feet from each of those classrooms?
That's right. We worked closely with Principal Paolino on this because she was concerned about some of the spacing in those rooms. I don't know exactly what she did. She did a few switches to just make sure that the students in those rooms, they weren't the larger classes, so that she could accommodate it. So there was one minor change she made
Okay.
to accommodate that, but it's about 4 feet on each side, so not that significant.
Mike, I think initially the plan was to split the the footage between the 2 classrooms, one on each side of the hallway. And what they ran into is based on where the supporting beams were, they had to take the square footage off of the right classroom in the hallway. So the left classroom remained the same size.
Oh, okay.
So the right classroom on the first floor and the second floor were reduced in size. The left side remained the same.
Okay. All right. My apologies, Juanita. I got that one
Oh, no.
incorrect. Yeah.
I just think it looks like an excellent job. Do we have a maybe estimated time for the car elevator?
Rich, I haven't heard anything in the last few weeks. I don't know if you've heard anything.
I haven't heard anything either. I
Okay.
know all of the interior work is done, so there'll be no classroom disruption. I know they're also looking at upgrading the fire alarm because we'll need a special zone for the elevator. So that's being done as well.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But thanks, Juanita. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is one that was done with the ARPA funds. These are the lighting, stadium light upgrades to the stadium at Danbury High School. This has been a long time coming as well. The lights that we had up there were always a few out, and it wasn't just the lights. There were problems with the cabling and the posts that came all the way down. Just over time, there was sort of wear and tear. Rodents can get inside of there and chew them up. So it was time we did a full overhaul. So these are LED. They don't take as long to warm up. And I haven't seen this in action yet, but I've heard that they can do like flicker and things like that when they score a touchdown. So everybody seems really excited about the new lights, and they're more energy efficient, and they provide better lighting. So it's a
I
great
think we
upgrade.
could do a nighttime convocation. That might be cool.
That's
We
right.
could try them out.
All right, and then this is the auditorium. Again, with ARPA funds, they replaced all the seating. So you can see that left-hand picture there. I tried to stitch it together because it was too big for one shot. So that was while they were gutting it out. And one thing I want to point out is that medallion up on the ceiling there. You can see it was that sort of old green, and it just looks sort of yellowed and browned. So they replaced that whole ceiling and the medallion as well.
They
And then
replaced
full seal.
they replaced all the lighting in the seating area too with LED lighting. So
Yeah.
it came out really nice.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks great. So this is still when they were kind of getting it cleaned up, so you can tell the floor is a little dusty. This one was probably taken also in the first couple weeks of August. So it's all done, and it looks fantastic. So I think we'll be doing Teacher of the Year again in there this year. We'll definitely have some events in there. And then along with that, there was a refresh going on at the high school. So in coordination with the auditorium, the stadium lights, the science C5 wing upgrades, we also did some painting to match the aesthetic of the academies. We wanted to make sure that the kids who were enrolled in academies at the main campus didn't feel like, the other students got a brand new campus and, they didn't have any upgrades. So the building has had a little bit of a facelift and a refresh, and it's noticeable when you walk down the hallways. It just feels a little bit brighter and newer as well. And this is at Pembroke. So we have been trying to upgrade all of our gym floors. This is a sort of it's a rubber floor, so it's a little bit more forgiving if kids fall on it, and they're less likely to get hurt. The picture on the left is while it was in progress, and Rich can probably explain this process a little bit better than me. But it's a liquid that they pour on the floor to level it, to make sure it's nice and smooth and there's no kind of weird dips or curves in it. That dries hard and level, and then they roll the rubber flooring on top of it, and then you have a new gym floor that's going to be great for kids running around and anybody who falls. So. And this is one we started talking about late last year. So the retaining wall at AIS. This is one that's going to take place in 2 phases. We've completed phase 1 of this project. Basically, that wall on the left, that big concrete wall you see there, was starting to slouch a little bit. And again, Rich, help me out here because you know the engineering a lot better than I do. And one of the things they wanted to do was get that brick wall off the top because it was putting a lot of weight on that wall, which was adding to the slouch. So they've removed that brick wall and they've installed this black fence here. Um, so it's safe. They just don't want cars on that wall right now because they're still studying the wall to see if it's moving or how much it's moving, and that's going to dictate what they do in the second phase of the repair. So while getting the wall off of it is going to keep it from moving more rapidly, they're eventually going to have to put a system of ties in where they drill down. They're going to dig out the parking lot and pull that wall into the hillside, and the degree and the intensity of that repair is going to be dictated by what they learn in this study that they're now observing, to see how much it's moving and how intense that repair needs to be. So we still are not allowing cars to park. If you look on the right-hand picture, that main row going right down behind where that sign where it says danger, we're still not allowing cars to park there because they don't want weight on that wall and they don't want the cars impacting what they're anticipating to be the sort of natural movement of that wall. So the spots just to the right of that, if you know how this school is laid out, there's spots just to the right of that. Those spots are open, so teachers can park in there. We are waiting on a timeline for this one as well because there's two factors. One, there's the engineering study, which is going to dictate how they do the repair. But then the second part is finding the money for it. I don't know what this type of thing costs. I've heard it can be easily in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, depending on the intensity of the repair. So we're waiting for that study to end, and hopefully we'll hear something this winter about what they're going to do and whether they have the funding available for it.
I
Again,
wasn't
this is a
given
city
a hard
project.
budget number, but public buildings said it would be in excess of $1 million.
Yeah.
And we've also temporarily lost some parking spots on the lower level
That's right.
for, safety reasons. If God forbid, if that wall ever did let loose, we don't want any cars or people in that area.
So basically everything in that left-hand picture that you see there is closed off. So right about where I'm standing, where I take this picture on the left-hand side, there's now a fence there, so nobody can go in there. So the dumpsters have come out, and there's only a small little access way so that the custodians can get in and out of there with the snow equipment and the trash and all that kind of stuff. So we're not letting anybody in there. And this has caused some parking challenges, which I'm going to talk about with a future project that we're planning in a couple slides down the way here. I just added this. It wasn't really a facilities project, but it's a site because it's a website. So maybe it's just language. I don't know. But we did a overhaul of the Danbury High School website. So it is now the Academies of Danbury High School. We thought with a new building and a new academy launch, we should have a new website to match. So if you go to the old same web address, if you go to that website, you will be taken to the new site and you can explore and see all the cool stuff that's on there. The way we're using this site, there's so much functionality with being able to just grab things from like Twitter and postings and social media. We've only begun to just learn about the functionality of this site, so we're probably only using it to about 25-30% of its capacity. And as we get a little bit more fluent in how to use it and who we want to grant access to be able to post things to, the site's just going to become a lot more dynamic, and it'll have more up to the minute updates on it. It just has so much flexibility. So it's really an exciting software, and it's going to be a very kind of transformative. It's not just meant to be a static website that gets updated once a year by a webmaster. It's going to be a much more dynamic site. So it has all that capacity. We wanted to make sure that we bought a site that is going to still look good and function good in 5 to 10 years. Okay, and then I added this one, and this was actually done at the end of last spring, but I wanted to put it in here just in case anyone had any questions about it. So this is the KSP playground fence. It goes all the way down into the woods there, and it's there's a gate here, a double gate, so that snow movers or lawn mowers can get through, and we can still access that area, but it remains closed during the day. All right, and I don't have pictures for these, but these are just other things I wanted to talk about a little bit. Food service change over equipment support. So, as everyone knows, we have, and we had some very impassioned comments about it at our last board meeting. We have changed from Sodexo to Chartwells. There seems to be a very positive reaction in the district. But you can imagine changing over an entire food service provider was challenging. We did that this summer at the same time we were doing all these other projects. Finance department shouldered the majority of this work in terms of just the administrative pieces of it. But Rich and his team did do a lot of support for just making sure kitchen equipment was in the right place. And, there were just a few quirky things, especially with the new building where, pipes didn't line up with drains properly, and Rich and his team were just fantastic about helping us to make sure all those things work the way they're supposed to. So we also did painting. These are two more projects we approved at the very last sites meeting of last year, because we were spending money out of the rental fund. So this was Broadview Middle School was painted over the summer, as was the Rogers Park auditorium. So all the middle schools, the two middle schools got an upgrade on their auditoriums. And then this is still ongoing. We've made a lot of progress with it, but the changeover of our phones from the analog copper lines to the digital VoIP. Rich, I don't know if you have a little update on this. My understanding is it's in progress. We're still troubleshooting a few issues, but it's still moving along.
Yes, we're ready to switch over the two King Streets, Great Plain and Morris Street, and that will finish phase 2. Once we're done with that, phase 3 incorporates all the rest of the schools. So we're probably at the point where we have about 40 to 50, I say 50% of the schools are already converted to the voice over IP.
That's great. Thank you, Rich. And this is going to be, we talked a little bit about the financial component of this, but this is going to be a big money saver down the road without paying, there was a little bit of upfront money to it, but monthly going forward, the phone bill is just going to start to rapidly decrease. So this is going to be a big cost saver within probably a year or two.
Quick question, Mike.
Mhm.
Can you talk about emergency calls if
Yeah.
phone go out?
Yeah, so it's not every phone, and Rich, you can say more about this. It's not every phone in a school. We've left copper lines in place just in case the internet is down or the power is down. So we do have traditional phone lines and a mix of VoIP. Rich, I don't know if you have anything to add over that.
That's correct. We're leaving at least 1 or 2 copper phone lines available in the schools. So if the internet does go down, we still have a way of calling out. And actually at Pembroke, because the cell phone service is so bad and their phone system is tied into electrical, we've put in a UPS battery backup. So if the electricity does go out, they're still able to have an outgoing phone call as well.
We've also, for some of the schools that have poor cell service, we're now doing some testing with some different radios that operate on different frequencies. We're also adding some antennas that will allow radios to communicate, just walkie-talkie radios to communicate beyond just the bandwidth, the perimeter of that campus. So a combination of a number of things here that we're using just to make sure we're always in communication for just a number of contingencies: power outage, Wi-Fi outage, cell phone outage. We'll always have a way to communicate.
Do we have any questions now before we go to the next slideshow?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm going to back up a little bit. Where is the warehouse located?
Yeah. So currently, we rent a building at 43 Beaverbrook. It is housing the downstairs area houses our facilities team. That's where Rich's office is, as well as Brian Harity, Carlos. Our whole facilities team. Um, the top front part of that building is where we currently have our HR and IT. So they're going to be moving over to the Board of Ed side. We will be exiting that lease for the top part of it, but that bottom part will remain our facilities offices and our warehouse. So it's right there. If you're at Beaverbrook and you just go,
Pembroke pumping.
yeah, Pembroke Pumping, yeah, the ice house. I don't know. You probably driven past it 100 times and never noticed it. So.
Yep. Our warehouse is in the back of the building. The other thing besides the rolling files, I was able to buy some pallet jacking at clearance prices from the landlord, sort of like the Home Depot racks you would see when you go in Home Depot, and it's allowed us to clear a lot of space on the floor. We're going higher. We have the 3 levels now instead of just everything being 1 level.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did you have anything else, Juanita?
Just with the phones going from analog to digital, phase 1 is over. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're
Phase-
just about to complete phase 2, actually.
Okay, phase 2 is almost complete. And phase 3, do we have a timeline?
By June 30th, 2026.
Okay, yeah, and if you can just keep us updated on especially those campuses that have the poor cell service,
Absolutely.
as you're testing out the radios and different things that might help out there, if you could keep us updated on those.
Okay, great. We will do.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is just my last slide. It's a bit of a look ahead. I pulled a few projects out of the list that we talked through around budget time last year. And then just some things that have sort of emerged that we want to stay vigilant of. So we'd put in the budget a couple of vestibules, safety vestibules. We want to make sure all of our schools have double doors, and some even that have double doors, but that we feel like we need to beef up the security on 1 or 2 of those because they're a little older and weathered. So we're going to be doing some vestibule upgrades. Number 2, I referenced this a little earlier with AIS and that wall. So there is, because we've lost all those parking spaces, and there's one other thing that's happened at AIS, which is we've added a program there, which has brought more staff to that building. So as those cars now need more places to park, and we've reduced the number of parking spaces, we're going to be carving out a little section on the lower level of grass to add a row of perpendicular spots. We are waiting on a bit more information from our contractor before we know fully the cost of that, and if there's any other sort of remediation that we need to do in the process of that. But we're hoping to have that done this fall as well. We've also begun exploring South Street, just because the drop-off pickup process there has been a little chaotic. There's just the way the cars line up on the road, and they don't really have a good drop-off loop for buses and cars. So we want to add a layer of safety there. So we're going to be removing a bit of curb to create more of a loop for that back area so that cars can get in and out more easily. And we believe that's going to really improve the pickup and drop off at South Street while making it safer. And just speed it up too, so the kids don't lose as much instructional time. And right now they have to start their dismissal process relatively, several minutes before the bell. So we're hoping that we'll cut into that, and they won't have to stop instruction quite as early. Number 4 on this list, air quality testing. This is something that we're continuing. It's part of our state mandate. We have to do 20% of our schools each year over the next 5 years. So we'll be beginning that process in partnership with the city. AIS, we're waiting to hear back on the details of that retaining wall. Again, this is a city project, but it impacts us so heavily that we'll stay on top of it and update the board as we get more information. And then, of course, King Street primary walls. This is one that the city is also working on and getting in the construction application. I believe it's coming due pretty shortly. So we've been working with them, and should have more information for this committee. We're probably going to have to approve an ed spec in short order. So I'll have more. I'll communicate with Louisa, and we will schedule a meeting accordingly and make sure that we support them in any way that they need to get this project put together. And that's it. I have no more slides. So
Great. So anybody have any questions?
I don't have any question. I just like to make a comment, and I don't know if concerning South Street, and I'm usually there twice a week, and since school has started, the backup has not been as severe as it's been in the last couple of years. And I don't know, I don't understand why people always running late. And I think the worst thing that stops South Street is the parents come from Main Street. They're gonna come down South Street to make a left.
a left, yeah.
And right.
Yeah.
See, now, you're running late, you want to get to work. So, instead, when I drop my grandkids off, I go through Rogers Park, come up Cold Pit Hill Road. So I'm on the same side as the school is.
Yeah.
Because when people are trying to get to work and there's 4 lanes of traffic, they're not going to let you through.
Yeah.
And so the buses has got their back end tied out. Now, the first thing, and maybe it's the timing. I take notices at 8:30. The 2 big buses are there first. And seeing the parents are trying to get in between the 2 big buses, and the big buses will not let the kids off until they unlock the doors.
Right.
So, but it's much easier this year compared to what it was last year. It was a mess.
I'm glad to hear that, Ms. Cooper. We actually added a safety advocate because there were kids running across, and it was just getting too
right.
We were just concerned about the bus area. So I'm hoping that has helped. Carmen said it has, but we want to keep chipping away at the problem here.
Right.
And I really think this is going to I mean, it's not going to fix everything,
Right.
It's going to make things a lot better though.
And the staff there is wonderful.
They are.
They are wonderful.
They really are.
Okay. Anybody else?
I do have something if all board members are done
I believe they are.
speaking. Okay, I cannot begin to tell you how proud I am of the team this summer. And this work actually started kind of, last year, as you know. I don't recall a time when this many projects were completed in such a tight time period. Rich Jalbert and his team were absolutely incredible. Never ending. Mike, your support and service during this was absolutely incredible. The
Thank you.
collaboration between the city, it was seamless collaboration this past year through a lot of projects. And I just can't tell you how happy I am with that. We've had projects, little tiny things in between all of these bigger projects that come up, issues in the school, things that break. And Rich, your team never said no. You never said no to one request. And I just want to say thank you for that. And please thank your staff. I try to thank your staff whenever I can. And Mike is always picking up anything that's left hanging that no one else can tackle. I tend to go to Mike for. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I thank you to the board members for supporting all these projects. It was a really incredible year.
Thank you, Kara. I appreciate it.
And I want to just piggyback on that because I'm telling you, my 4 years on the board, I have not seen this much work done from June to September. I mean, it was incredible. So kudos to the district, to the city, to all the workers, everybody that buckled down and just got to work. I mean, it was amazing. And some of these were all big projects, and even something small like putting in a new floor, you see the complexity of the projects, even
Mhm.
something that you might think is so simple,
Yeah.
isn't quite that simple. So
Right.
for you guys to pull off all of this stuff, I thank you to everybody. I think it's a testament to this collaboration, like you said, between the district and the city, and everybody just kind of working together to get
Yeah.
what's best for the kids. And
Right.
I thank all of you for that.
Right.
Great.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Louisa.
Mike, for putting this all together. This was awesome.
Thank
Can
you.
I make a comment, Louisa?
Yes, absolutely, Juanita.
Okay. I'd also like to chime in. One of the things that I had asked about was a more thorough report given, and this is exactly what I was looking for, and it covers went beyond covering the projects, but also who's the responsibility, approximate completion, and the funding source. So thank you so much for answering my call for more information. Thank you.
Thanks, Juanita. And this is how we get, working together, right? Everybody,
Right.
contributing and asking for what the information they need, and this is how it works. So thank you to the board members and to Gladys and everybody. This is great. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right,
Mhm.
so if there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we are adjourned.